When applications are single purchase and then all of a sudden the rug's pulled out from under you and you're on a subscription, when that happens, like it did with Reader, which is something I talked about recently, people tend to get mad. Um, People tend to get really mad, actually, and I'm totally sympathetic because I too get mad about things. But the reality is, when you're making something of a relatively minor interest, you can either charge loads for it or charge a subscription for it. Either way, you're going to get a finite amount of money off a finite amount of people. So something like Goodlinks, sorry, that came out at like £9, I think it was. You buy it once, you set and forget, you never pay again, and the developer's expected to keep updating essentially for free. Now, that's good for consumers, but not so good for developers. And something like Goodlinks is never going to have this mass market appeal. It's not Halo, it's not going to be dragging you in like any massive piece of software is. So to switch to a subscription model seems like a good move for the developer for selfish reasons. However, there are different types of subscription models. And recently, I say recently, 2 months ago, when Goodreads switched from a single purchase to a subscription model, everyone shook their fist at the sky and screamed. There's a Reddit thread here from when it came out, and people was kind of mad about it, which is interesting. But there's a different ways of subscribing, of doing things, and the subscription that's offered by Goodlinks seems the least egregious while still being deeply irritating, because I bought Goodreads with the intention of buy it and then I never have to buy it again. At least with Reader, they didn't change the deal. They added a new piece of software, which was essentially the successor, but the old piece of software honoured the deal. With Goodreads, that deal doesn't feel like it was honoured. So for those of you who don't know, I keep saying Goodreads instead of Goodlinks because there's two services with similar names. Excuse me, I'm sorry for that. Just ignore me when I say the wrong thing. In the case of Goodlinks, it's a universal app. So you install Goodlinks. It works on your iPad, your iPhone, your Mac, and probably your watch. I don't know. I have a Casio. I don't have an Apple. Casio. Anyway, you pay that £15, whatever it was. It just works everywhere. It's a really good deal. Like, it was a great deal, but it was too good a deal from the point of view of the developer who makes this software, upgrades the software, and then gets a very small amount of money from people, which feels mean. Some things, though, have the subscription model where they go, you can subscribe, or you can just pay like 3 years worth of subscription and just have an infinite application access, which is what any box does. Any box goes, it's like £9, £12 a year, or you can pay like $35 or whatever it is and just get it forever, which is what I chose to do. I chose to pay over the odds in order to ensure I didn't have a future bill from them, which I feel like should be what Goodlinks did. But what Goodlinks did was they chose a subscription model, which is a bit confusing and hard to explain. So when you subscribe, you are essentially buying the updates for that amount of time. So if I subscribe to Goodlinks for a year, I'm buying a year's worth of updates from the developer. And when my subscription expires, I get all the stuff I paid for forever, but then any new updates I have to pay for to get, which is not terrible. Right? It's hard to explain, hard to get your head around. So I've got a year subscription to this. So during that time, any updates that come out, mine forever. After that time, updates come out, don't get them. I get bug fixes, no feature updates. If I want the feature updates, I give them more money, and then they go from there. Which, yeah, not horrific. Doesn't feel like you've been robbed, but still feels a little bit, because it's like not standard. The application that people here talked about was JetBrains, which is an application I don't know of. I have no idea what JetBrains is. I should probably look it up. But they use this model. The one that jumps to my mind though is a gender app, which does the same thing, but they want £119 for a lifetime license, which seems, frankly, ludicrous. But yeah, they pay like £35 a year, I think it is, for their updates. But we'll wait and see if it becomes more popular or not. I kind of hope it does, but maybe don't frame it as a subscription. Maybe go, you're buying 2.0, you want 3.0, you have to pay again. Maybe do it that way around. I don't know. But Goodlinks is a good application, and this is the website for Goodlinks. It's great. You get to save things to read it later, and you have a nice and easy unread red list, and then it organizes by tags and plain text search. It's a really good application. I use it literally every day. In fact, lately I've been bad, and I've let like 30 odd things build up before me reading through them and tagging them. But I know I've not lost those articles, and I can always go back and read them because they're in my Read It Later service. It's great. The outstanding feature which they added to kick off the subscription, though, was highlighting, something that I just don't care about personally. And I know a lot of people do, but I was like, oh, highlighting, great. I wouldn't have paid a subscription to get highlighting, but the purchase comes with a subscription. So when it flips subscription model, if you'd bought it within a year, you just get some subscription time with them. So you get to test highlighting, which I wasn't that excited about. But yeah, I mean, it's good that they have it. What I really want is global search. I want the ability to tap a key shortcut from anywhere, and it pops up a search box, and I can type in the name of what I want, tap a button, and paste the link to someone is what I really want. But we can't all have what we want, can we? So yeah. So I've got highlighting. It's a good feature. It works well. But since the subscriptions come up, the only update has been highlighting. And I can't help but wonder if it's in the developer's best interest to wait about 8 months before they start adding new features, just so people have to resubscribe. That's probably the way to do it. There was an announcement about the whole thing over on the goodlinks.app/help/premium. And you can read all about what happened, like what happens when my subscription expires. Like, it's really explained in a way that hopefully makes sense to people. But yeah, it's not an egregious subscription model, but it is still taking something you've paid for outright and then adding more things on top that are going to cost you money. I do get it though. I genuinely do. From the developer's point of view, I totally understand. Let's have a look, shall we, though, at my Goodreads, which is here. I've bookmarked the Alfred page here because I was actually looking out for another video I'm thinking about making. So I bookmarked here, and I just did a little highlight there to show you the highlights. And you can see there it comes in one highlight. I've got like 42 things I haven't tagged that last week, which is really bad for me. I usually do my tagging and my read. I usually catch up with my reading at the end of every day, but I've just been really busy. You can see here it captures the article in read. Basically, it caches the reader mode of the article. It pulls up all the JPEGs as well, copies them over, compresses them, and this is just on my local file system. I can right-click on the file and get it to re-download the article if I really wanted to, if I thought there was an update to the article. But this essentially is trapped in a jar and it's mine forever. I can then, if I want to, choose to share a markdown, a HTML, a plain text, or just a URL, just a link to the article. Through that button, I can just copy that to memory, or I can just hit the button here and just share a link to the article to somebody else. There's also this button on the right which shows me all the highlights, which is just one in this case because I don't really use highlighting. Outstanding features are I can click the button here and I can just straight to a web browser. If I just want to open this to a web browser for myself to read, I can bookmark it so it comes up as starred there, share it, I can tag it, and I can search the tags. Honestly, it's just a Read It Later service. It's hard to get super excited over a Read It Later service because I tag it here and Read It Later is literally what it's for. But this is a really good Read It Later service, and I did like that it didn't have a subscription. And it's available offline. So while you might say, if you're going to pay a subscription anyway, why not give it to Pocket or something? Because they're online services. Readwise is another one that's an online service, which is fine most of the time. But the point of these services for me is snatching something so that if it gets taken down, I can still access it. Or if I'm offline and just want to check it, I can get it there. The point of this for me is snagging it for offline use. That's not the same with YouTube videos. Obviously, it doesn't download YouTube videos locally. It'd be nice if it did, but it doesn't. But it does grab all the text associated. So I find it really useful for that. Not that I'm ever offline a lot, but I have more than once had it because I've been using Read It Later services for years on and off. And I have had it where I've had an article I've read and I've gone, that's interesting, I'll save that for later. Or I've read it on the website and I'm just going to grab that. And I've got into the habit of saving everything I read and find interesting. I just save because, why not? And I have had it where those sites have gone down and my snapshot is the only snapshot you can find. It happens a lot with tutorial videos, tutorial articles as well. There's been tutorial articles where I've read it, and that's great, I've snapshotted it, and then 6 months later someone's asked a question, I've gone, I read an article, I go and find the article, I try and send them a link and it's just not there, and I have to then send the plain text or send the HTML of the version I've got, which has been really useful. So there are reasons to do it. And text and images are so small in modern terms, there's no reason not to save everything you read. Yeah, and it's absolutely fine. I mean, to be honest, I save everything twice because I use Goodreads, which is great. Goodlinks, damn it, Goodlinks. I use Goodlinks as my main grabbing service, but I also use AnyBox as my main recovery service. So I sort of sync them together manually every so often just to make sure they're there, and I find that really useful as well. Yeah, and it's a good service. It really is. But going from no subscription to subscription is annoying, and and it's in my head especially because I just sort of saw this and shrugged at the time, but it's in my head especially because it also kind of happens to read in a different way. And I keep thinking, like, is there any point in paying lifetime subs for software? I know this is the argument of this is why you should use open source software, and I don't disagree with that. But I just kind of want an easy life on Mac, and I'm willing to give a project some money. Just go, here's Goodreads, just have some money. Goodlinks, damn it, have some money, and you can just leave me alone. I just use it forever. But that option appears to be removing, and I get it because developers have to pay to list their items on stores, all stores, and we as users want updates from it, but we can't have updates because the developer has a finite pool of people, and then once the developer's got all their money off everyone they're likely to get, they've got no reason to update because you're not going to give them any more money. So I kind of get why subscriptions exist. I understand intellectually why, but I just don't like it. Free alternatives to this are things like Wallabag. You can self-host Wallabag, which is very, very good. There are some other things, but Wallabag seems the one everyone gravitates towards. You can even pay Wallabag a very small amount of money to host it for you. So there are other options out there which seem better, and the benefit to having Wallabag host your Wallabag instance for you is that you're supporting the open source project, and you can still just extract all the information and portably host your own Wallabag in the future if something changes. So there are open source options for all of this. You're not stuck in the ecosystem for this, but if you're in the Apple ecosystem anyway, it makes sense to use something within the ecosystem, which is what I did. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you've thought about this and you have something to say in the comments about this, because I don't know how I feel about these subscriptions. I get developers want and need to get paid, but I also get users want to buy a product and not attach their pipe to their bank account for a developer. So let me know what you think. Goodbye, everyone. Don't forget you can get me on hexdsl.com, and if you are interested in my writing, I've been publishing a comic book series on hexdsl.com, and my next book should be due out in about 3 months. Thanks for watching. I was going to say reading, that wouldn't be right, would it? Bye.